2022 video games. Actual, real video games released in 2022. 2021 had 30 games on that list because there were a lot of games I wanted to talk about. I have a lot to say about 2022, so let's see how many games are on this list. Shit! I tried. I really tried. But no, even being strict this year, even as I knocked games off the list that I didn't finish or really wanted to save for a future video, we still have a bajillion games to talk about here. Whatever. You all wanted this. These are my favorite video games from 2022. So nice, they'll do it twice. Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope is a sequel worth playing. The grid-based gameplay is replaced with a new, more open system, which I like. The worlds have more to offer and explore, which I like, and Sparks of Hope may have lost the luster of the WoW factor, but this game still offers plenty for the first one's fans to like. The shadow of the Batman envelops all. The shadow of the Arkham games, doubly so. Announced alongside Rocksteady's next freaking project, which is in and of itself something to be scared of, or at least we thought at the time, Gotham Knights had plenty of expectations against it at the start. Fast forward past the delay, a cancellation of the last gen versions, and honestly, you still get a pretty good game. I'm not going to make all the comparisons that literally everybody else was making because, at least for today, the game deserves a spotlight all its own. It's a solid action-adventure game that I still think any Bat fan, Arkham or otherwise, should check out. For as much as 2022 was a year of new things in my life, the year also offered plenty of time for me to catch up on franchises that I'd never touched. One franchise in particular, I can't believe I've never touched. Evoking the era of brainless PS2-era shooters, literally, Destroy All Humans is a series that is pure popcorn fun. 2022 brought the remake of the second game, and after hearing stories of some of my friends' fond memories, I decided to give the remake of the first game a try. After that, it was smooth sailing to the sequel, with a better story, much better controls, and a hell of a lot better visuals and performance. Destroy All Humans 2 is a winner. Both of these games are great, and I'm glad I got to try them out. They're wacky, wild, third-person shooters, and who doesn't love that? Who doesn't love wacky, wild, third-person shooters? I had a great time with the Saints Row reboot. It's not the old stories. It's not old school gangster. Hell, it's new school... startup? I'm not going to ignore the disappointment others had with this game, but I still had a pretty good time playing it. The story wasn't too bad either, with plenty of standout moments, especially in the late game. It is a damn shame that this became the last stop on the Volition bus. I'll be the one to say that Saints Row is Saints Row, and Saints Row is still good. I have been waiting 4,000 years for this game. House of the Dead Remake is the perfect game to scratch my like gun itch. First released on Switch, then later for every gamer machine with mouse support, motion support, updates and all, everyone can now enjoy this also literally brainless fun time. If Forever Entertainment is working on a sequel remake, I will buy that in an instant. Atari 50, the Anniversary Collection, is a milestone achievement. It's a documentary in sheep's clothing. A true museum's worth of knowledge and gameplay in one game. An experience I haven't had before. My parents grew up playing these games, and while it's nice to play these games all in one collection instead of two or however many, the best part of the project really is the documentary clips. Absorbing the insight regarding these games and then playing them allows me to appreciate the work put into them and this medium even more. No controversy untouched, no mystery unsolved, Atari 50 really does make for a great realization. Atari is 50 years old, my god. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles will never die. A concept so 80s, yet a series that is so beloved by many. One random day, I'll yell out Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on a random day to my kid, and they'll be like, that sounds so cool, but also what the hell are you talking about, Dad? And I'll be like, no, your line is Leonardo is the best turtle. And my kid will be like, Dad, I'm not just gonna lead into what you like, I'm gonna make decisions for myself, and I think Raphael is the best turtle. And then I'll be like, I'm glad I'm raising my son to think for himself and not have him follow my footsteps to a T. And then I'll kick his ass in Tournament Fighters, and after he cries for 30 minutes like his dad used to, we'll play Turtles in Time again thanks to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Cowabunga Collection. But a tinge better than a collection of old is something brand new, and that was playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge with my girlfriend. Back in 2003 or 4, I had a TMNT game on Game Boy based on the series of the same time, and that was a 2D beat-em-up. Turtles in Time was a 2D beat-em-up. The friggin' arcade game, modern day times arcade game, is a beat-em-up. TMNT and beat-em-ups go together really, really well. And with Shredder's Revenge, it's given so much love. 6-player mode, replayability up the wazoo, and you have another winner. Another Dotemu project, Windjammers 2 is good, clean fun, taking the simplicity and competitive natures of Windjammers and squishing them into a new nifty art style with online play, and it just works. That's really all I can say, really. Go play it. Grab a friend and watch the magic happen. Like Destroy All Humans with one friend group, another sang the praises of the Horizon series. After Zero Dawn's framerate patch for the PS5 was released, I found it the best time to jump into the series that I never got into back at the beginning. These games are massive and sprawling, especially on PlayStation 5, and after the environments that Zero Dawn offered, the Forbidden West was mine for the taking. Guerrilla Games has crafted a fantastic open world, full of life, story, and danger. It was quite a pleasure to follow Aloy in these two games, and, quelle surprise, I cannot wait for Part 3.
In the West, war is the rule.
Nintendo Switch Sports had the courtesy of coming out during a very rough time in 2022, so I admit I didn't play it too much. But when I did settle down and played it later in the year, it was still a great time. The choice of sports here leave very much to be desired, but the improvements to returning sports are very, very good to see. One of the first video games I remember playing is Pac-Man World for the PlayStation 1. Everyone talks about how Pac-Man World 2 is where the money is, but I prefer the first game, however forgotten it used to be. This repack is ridiculously fun. Small quality of life improvements and big visual changes arrive in time for the PS5 generation. And yes, I did get it on PS5 instead of Switch, because, well, you know what they say about the more the things change. From the leaks, to the reveal, to the release, Multiverses is a fun time. You wouldn't expect it to work, but it works very well. Crossover fighting games are my kryptonite, and Multiverses very much fits that bill. I'm not very competitive in terms of actual competition, but I just love laying back and having a fun time with buddies. Closer to release, I wasn't in a good mindset to learn its intricacies, but then I played it more, and I'm hooked.
You want revenge? Show me.
some of the most satisfying combat in video games comes from Sifu, a love letter to the martial arts genre in media. Very short, but only if you're not looking deeper into it. Every cracked rib, every stabbed thigh, every slapped face adds up to the near non-stop action in this fantastic title.
I waited 15 years for this? Mario Strikers Battle League is still horrible. End of Strikers? Mario Strikers Battle League is the most pathetic game Nintendo has ever made. A shameless, unfinished disaster. Everybody hates Mario Strikers Battle League.
Really, though? Because I think it's fantastic. The Strikers gameplay refined to higher than high standards combined with more captains playable at once to 8-player games. Imagine this. Extended family, Christmas 2022, right after the World Cup. God, I think my ears are still ringing. I can still very much understand why some aren't satisfied, but I can't deny myself the fact that I still really, really enjoy this game. Do you remember when fighting games were released yearly? You surely do if you're an SNK fan. 15 King of Fighters games. The best of the best of the best SNK fighters are here, in a game that embraces all consoles and all fighting creeds. This game was the last we'll see from the previous generation of fighting games, if not being the start of a transition to the new generation, which is a relief because 15 is the most fun yet. I haven't had a game get me from just its box art in a long time. This gigantic smile is super contagious. Turns out, it belongs to a character in a video game that brings back the best of the simpler 90s platformers. I had so much fun with Frog Gun when I played it in 2023, that there's no way I wasn't retroactively adding it to the 2022 list. Another game that I got to play much more in 2023, to add it to my favorite games of 2022, is the successor to Warhammer 40k's rat-bashiest of games. Warhammer 40k Darktide launched on PC in 2022, but launched on the not expensive and poopy game machines in 2023. But it came out in 2022, so it's here. Grab a chainsword and go play it. It's probably the king of co-op shooters right now. I didn't really like God of War as much as everyone. It was a fantastic game, yeah, but I didn't really think it was too groundbreaking. That thought process stayed with me as I started God of War Ragnarok. I felt more obliged than compelled to play this game, and that's when it happened. I played the first 10 minutes with my partner, and for them, the waterworks immediately started. They have never gone through anything God of War, but they were still absolutely invested. And this was the first time that this has ever really happened with video games they've watched me play. We then watched most of the cutscenes on YouTube for God of War 2018 together, and it dawned on me that although I didn't like it as much as everyone, I still really, really liked it. And so, with my partner caught up and my own memory refreshed, we got to see every kick-ass moment, every somber moment, and everything in between. Dramatics aside, it was the first game they watched me play throughout. And that's something I'll never forget. Sonic Frontiers is the best Sonic game. That's it. The best Sonic game. No, I don't think I have any argument for this. This is just the best Sonic game. I didn't think it was going to be much to talk about. Oh, gee, just open worldify Sonic. Yeah, sure, but that was the most fun Sonic has ever been to control. He has actual seamless combat skills. No werehog, no jokes, no gimmicks, just Sonic at his fastest. So if the gameplay is great this time, then I'm sure everything else is bad, right? Wrong. Oops, what'd I tell you? The best Sonic game! I played this game every day for 69 freaking days straight. This is a lot for me, bear with me. 69 days straight. Was it worth it? Yes. Splatoon 3 is fantastic. The best single player of the series. It's so varied and engaging. The best salmon run of the series because you can play it anytime this time. And the best... really, really good multiplayer. Make your same game arguments all you like. The new single player campaign is worth the price in my eyes. Did Splatoon really need a battle pass for people to keep playing it? No, but it did make me play it a lot more than Splatoon 2. Kirby in 3D. In damn good 3D. This is a fantastically designed adventure in a new world. All the powers present work so well, and not to mention a great co-op experience that I'll be delving into to 100% the game later. Kirby's newest adventure is also quite the unforgettable one, especially near the end game. This is exactly how all of us imagined Kirby in 3D would be, if not better than that. Here's a side note, and this is not on the script at all. I wanted to let you all know that when I first wrote the script and when I first thought about my favorite games of 2022, during 2022, Kirby was number one. Kirby was going to be number one. Then I started really thinking about it. And only at this point does it scare me that Kirby and the Forgotten Land is not in the final 5. I just thought it'd be interesting for y'all to know that. Alright, speaking of the final 5, how are you holding up? I promise, I'll try not to like every game that came out in 2023, but honestly, there were still so many games I wanted to talk about. Before we go on, it's comment time, I guess. Comment below what your favorite movie was of 2022. Yeah. Curveball. Haha. My favorite movie of 2022 was Turning Red. Final 5, here we go! It seems like forever ago since this game was announced. My goodness. We all at first thought it was a complete saga kind of thing, where all the older games were included, plus newer playable episodes for The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, or maybe even a LEGO Indy 2, where they would condense the movies even more to fit into a nice little journey. I mean, it's not like each movie's level would have a playtime as big as the movie it's based on, or that each world would be accessible through a world map, and each planet would have its own side missions and one giant celebration of the franchise. Right? In all seriousness, pen this down as one of my favorite Star Wars games ever, because the Skywalker Saga is a game that no one should miss. Modern Warfare 2... I guess. Cold War was fun, but Warzone overtook it. This year, Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2.0 with DMZ, the sandbox mode for Call of Duty, all dropped relatively close to each other. No fake-outs this time. Modern Warfare 2 is the package to get. Warzone is forever changing, even though the wow factor's sorta gone. Multiplayer is much more intense and much more satisfying, but it's the single player, yet again, that makes this game worth it for me. This is the best Call of Duty campaign. a lot of bests for me this year, but really, the set pieces are the most fun moments in all of Call of Duty campaigns. Infinity Ward has been and always will be the ruler of Call of Duty. Is what I wrote a year ago, but we'll get to that eventually. Pokemon Legends Arceus injects a bit of open-world action to the Pokemon formula, and is Game Freak's highest rewarding risk yet. Sinnoh are eating good lately, but Gen 4 bias aside, I gave it some real thought, and yeah, I think I'm going for it. Arceus was the second best Pokemon game to come out in 2022. Over Thanksgiving that year, I overheard a conversation between my cousins. One of the lines was, "Is that the new Pokemon? That's the best 3DS game I've ever seen." And they both just kept playing, and they both just sat there staring at the game. That kind of says it all for me. The lengths that players will go to enjoy a game is unrivaled. That's something to aspire to in a cheesy way. At least in my playthrough, no big game-breaking bugs or anything happened. The linearity shot out to the sky because this game really kind of did let you go anywhere and tackle anything you wanted to in any order. For those who are freaking out about how it's too soon for a new gen, I can understand that, but in reality, it's par for the course in Pokemon. For those who are freaking out about how the developers are lazy, I can't for the life of me believe that for a second. For those who think that they were rushing this out to the holiday, yeah, I can see that. I still have to say that every mainline Pokemon game shows so much passion and effort. But I don't know, maybe I like to see the ambition, maybe I can see past it. Maybe I'm a jerk, but I have to tell it like I see it. Pokemon Scarlet is one of the best Pokemon games ever made. Oh, and Scarlet is better than Violet because Scarlet is the one I picked. Mwah. There was a point where Scarlet was my game of the year. But when I really thought about it, ordering this list and reordering it multiple times, I went to that age-old question. What's the game that gave me the most joy? When I think back to 2022, I will always think about the turmoil I personally went through. A lot of things changed, not just around me, but... Okay, to be real, I think 2022 is the first time that I had to take a seat and think real hard about who I wanted to be. And in order to reach that goal, a lot of things had to change. I had to change a lot of things because I knew I wanted to be happy, to be triumphant. Change may not always mean good things are guaranteed, but when good things do happen, these days one must indulge in every earned iota. During the scariest, changiest times of 2022, with the help of a friend, I played a few games that broke me. Tested me in ways that I certainly didn't need. And yet 3 games later, I prevailed. So then I played a 4th game. A game that made me ever so joyous, ever so happy. A game that reminded me that I deserve to triumph, no matter what comes my way. I'll say it one more time. 2022 was the year I dove into more new franchises and series that I never got to before. To be more detailed, 2022 was the first time I dove into a whole subgenre. 2022 was the first time I threw caution to the wind and, I have to stress, with a friend, beat Dark Souls, Dark Souls 2, and Dark Souls 3. We didn't know it at the time, but that was a mere test to see if I was ready for Elden Ring. The best Soulsborne game. I understand the greatness of these games now, and while it took a long time to get used to everything, I was carried a lot by my friend who knew where everything was, I still had a blast playing these games, with my most fun times, of course, in Elden Ring. This opened up the door for me to play more games like this in the future. Leave it to timing, leave it to luck, or leave it to persistence. But the game came out at the perfect time. I'll always remember what 2022 put in front of me, but I'll also remember that I overcame it all. And I'm here. I'm here. Elden Ring is my favorite game of 2022.